So much for urgency. It seems things have moved on despite our best intentions. I should be happy to once again be alive. Not many survive a blind jump. Put that on the resume. All I can do now is take a moment to rest and plan the next move. Hard to tell what that move will be. Everything is so out in the open now. A whole cycle just gone. The enemy are clearly on the move, though. If only we could get just a single clue as to what their main objectives actually are, and who their allies actually are. Well, we could finally stop them, I suppose. I don't know, I'm tired. I suppose for now I should try and enjoy this respite, hard as that is to do. This is Red Moon role-playing.
The Cyclade banquet in Sky City is at hand. The bulletin is represented at this event by Mahadia Alana, a very photogenic older woman with a razor-sharp tongue, and star producer Tarn Parr. Parr's icy white hair and perfect smile are contrasted against his scarred copper skin. Evidently, he has led an adventurous life. This duo is known from hit broadcasts such as The Wheel of Fatima, Studio Zana, and the exploratory drama Beyond Rimward Reach. Beautiful garments designed by the current prodigies of Cenethian fashion, as well as jewelry from the finest artisans on Kua, Dabaran, and Mira, are presented to you. You are even given wardrobe assistance as you're preparing for this banquet, and Mahadia speaks to you. Now, darlings, please don't forget to smile, laugh, and pay close attention to the dignitary's questions and reactions. All eyes, she motions to her eyes, will be on you, and she points to you.
Yeah, sure, I say as I'm looking down at the nice flowy grey and golden galabaya that I'm getting styled in. Making my forearms slightly less visible, but they're all accessible, not tied back like before. Along with a dark silver dupatta decorating my head, I feel like I look pretty awesome, or like an absolute idiot depending on who's watching. I can't believe I'm face to face with Mahadia. It's just so exciting.
I sigh inside, but again, I can act. It's all an act, really. It's fine to put on the nice clothing. In my case, making sure my house colours are nice and prominent, making sure my makeup is on point. To be fair, I don't mind a little bit of eyeliner every now and then. But the whole thing, I'm not excited. But then again, there is a purpose to all this. Information, listening, observing. Maybe this event will have some use. Maybe I can get some thing from it. I don't know. But for now, I will just nod and say, thank you so much for your assistance, Saiba.
Yes, and the makeup artists, they're covering wounds, scars. Do you have any tattoos, Pig?
No, not really. I mean, my biggest scars are on my head, but that's already covered by the dupatta. I mean, there'll be scars for sure from fighting and things like that. But no, I never got tattoos. Felt a bit impure.
Yeah. Well, they'll cover up the scars with thick layers of makeup, and we'll put that on all of you, really. You are given colored contacts that give your eyes an exotic shine. There's bright silk shawls and trains embroidered with gold that you are given access to as well. And everything is carefully matched to your complexions and hair colors. And I think you both specified what kind of clothes you're wearing. And yes, you're looking like you're wearing very, very expensive clothes, like you are the stars of the show, because that is exactly what you are going to be. And the time comes, and you are guided to a luxury gravcraft that gracefully ascends through thin clouds. And as the craft reaches the clear skies above, the misty floor below is lit by the setting sun like an ocean of fire. The palace of the Hegemony, Sky City's crown jewel, lies before you. Heart of the Cenethian aristocracy and home of the mighty Kassar clan. Towers of purple Dabaran opal mirror the starry skies above. and wide marble stairs connect winding walkways with beautiful terraces, filled with every conceivable botanical wonder. It's truly a paradise. The craft touches down softly on an open plaza, circled by marble statues of Cenethian celebrities and heroes. Wide steps covered in hand-woven rugs lead small parties of extravagantly dressed guests and colorful units of elite house guards up towards the palace's main entrance. Between the two jeweled stone gates, a dark shape rises towards the heavens, a massive sculpture of the zenith and her interior in shining duraglass. You carefully begin your climb up the stairs to celebrate the Cyclade with the Third Horizon's high and mighty, on a banquet where you are the guests of honor. What do you think as you are ascending these stairs?
I'm thinking to myself what I'm supposed to be saying and what I'm supposed to not be saying. I mean, me and Carlo have obviously been talking through if there's something that we should or shouldn't do before this. And I'm just going over it in my head. But I'm soon taken over by the, breathtaking sights of this place. The stupid amount of bear these people spend on stuff like this. I don't know what to think about it.
It certainly is wondrous. It's the sort of world everyone should live in, really, but we can't. Then again, is it much better than a fine tavern or drinking parlour on Coriolis or on other planets? Maybe not. Sometimes there's something more fun about the places that aren't so grandiose, but at the same time, this is the world I'm supposed to be in, so I move gracefully. It's difficult at first, but I do remember the drills I was taught as a child. It's not too hard. It's like riding a grav bike.
It certainly is. So, as you enter through the enormous main gates, the Cossar's own house guard, the Janissaries, line up to greet you. Muscular men and women in white chalk makeup showing just a hint of olive skin underneath. Their bionically perfected bodies are covered in ceremonial opal armor. They guide you to a security checkpoint. Have you brought anything with you that might be considered a weapon, you think?
I would have loved to, but it probably wouldn't have gone down well, so no, on this occasion I am fully unarmed.
Well, can weapons be used for decoration, or is it just gonna look weird?
Well, as we established previously, a sword, for example, can be a possibility.
I have a sword. I wouldn't know how to use it one single bit, but I've got a sword today. And I'll complain a bit, like rolling my eyes. Oh no, my sword that I never let leave my side. I suppose you're gonna have to take it.
They look at the sword and they give it back to you. It's it is for decorative purposes, isn't it?
Yep, that's for sure. I mean, yeah. I almost giggle inwardly at this, and I'm like, oh, thank you for understanding. I just would suffer so to leave this part of my side along, and just trail off, and I wink at Carlo.
You are having far too much fun.
Come on, what else are you supposed to do at a banquet?
I don't know. Are you really enjoying all this, pig? In a moment, you're going to be surrounded by a literal barrel of Zenethian bastards.
Yeah. My mom would be so proud.
2 courtesans welcome you on the other side of the checkpoint, and it's as though they have been specifically selected to match your tastes in people. Carlo, how would your ideal lover appear physically?
They do have a certain similarity to a certain agent we saw recently. Granted, there's a bit more makeup, but that's to be expected. No, there's a fine eloquence to them, but, well, if they've really picked well, there might be a little playfulness as well. A little bit of a attitude, perhaps. And perhaps they don't look completely defenseless either.
Then that is how they look like. Would you say that they're male or female or somewhere in between?
They'll be female in this case, I think.
Alright. Then her name is Maya. Pig, what about you?
I think, considering I had a little bit of a crush on Farouk, I think I'm going to take it somewhere towards that sort of appearance. Kind of these big, bushy-like eyebrows, but neatly combed, like these big eyebrows, greenish kind of eyes, and olive skin, and maybe some nice turban on top. Like very nicely sculpted, a little bit androgynous, but more towards the male side, with a little pointy beard. Probably a bit older than I as well.
That he is. Shamir is there for you. And the courtesans escort you across a stunning courtyard covered by a crystal dome. A large prism in the center enlarges a small part of the night sky above, showing Coriolis in all its quiet majesty far up in the heavens. You eventually arrive at the main banquet hall together with your courtesans, noticing that the bulletin's camera drones are following you. Do you say anything to your courtesans on the way, or are you just marveling at the opulence around you?
Well, Saiba, aren't you a sight? Been informed and briefed on my person, have we?
Of course. I'm here to make sure that you have a lovely night, Sahib.
Well, how could I not with such a gem by my side? Again, as I say that, I can see the little camera drones zooming around. They're probably listening in.
They most certainly are. What of you, Pig?
I'm a little bit taken by the just beauty of this courtesan. And at first, when I also have these camera drones zooming about, I feel like I'm an absolute loss for words until I just kind of croak out. So, you from around here? Or?
He smiles at you, a lovely smile. He truly is beautiful. I am from wherever you would like me to be, but tonight I'm from here. I'm from here to be with you and to give you the best night of your life.
Let's both enjoy it then.
And he takes your arm, and you continue walking forward towards this room where the banquet will happen. The huge room that you come to is covered in artful flower arrangements and contains a plethora of fountains, bars, and groups of velvet pillows, all of them with a small tray of fruits and snacks within each easy reach. The Zenithian's voyage and trials can be followed on embroidered tapestries running along the walls, and there's poets that recap the ending cycle's highs and lows in song here and there. Monitors on each side of the room show close-ups of you, likely taken just moments ago by the bulletin's drones. And there's black marble pillars that reach for the clear blue skies of the holodome above. A bright, scarred moon shines down over the hall, inspired by the legends of the Zenithian's first home, Arda. You descend into the hall, and the crowd ahead. Dignitaries, courtesans, and house guards beyond counting. They turn as one to face you, and they raise their cups. Your bulletin guide, Mahadia, flashes a perfect smile toward the cameras and begins to speak, her voice echoing in the sudden silence. Honored and distinguished guests, allow me to introduce the defiant explorers who went toe-to-toe with the Order's fearsome blockade, the survivors from Uharu, the icons chosen, and the children of the mysteries of the portals. Thanks to these brave heroes' choice to stare evil in the face and say, "Not today," Uharu will soon be under righteous Zenithian rule. Before you stand champions truly blessed by the Nine, for they were swallowed up by the void and spat back out again, unharmed. Tonight, we dine and celebrate. Tomorrow, we get to work for a brighter horizon, together. And there are waves of thundering applause. The masses of dignitaries in the hall below the steps swarm around you. It's difficult to catch all the names of the people attempting to get to know you and to pose for a picture with the heroes of Uharu. You hear names like Dinramas, Arianides, Constantinides, Lascarid, Astirs, lots of Zenithian names. All the families are there. How do you handle this attention, do you think? Can you tell us a story of what happened? What did the admiring masses demand of you? And what did you say to them?
As I said, diplomacy is not my strong suit, but I find in situations like this, if you just let them speak, they, well, make it so much easier. I will let them ask all the questions they want. My answers will be simple. We succeeded on our mission. It's all in the hands of the Heuschober. We are doing our part for the Hegemony. As it once was, so shall it be again. And then I'll just let them continue to gossip amongst themselves. Perhaps I am trying to pay attention, though, to a few things. I am interested in finding is Kassar, the captain himself, somewhere here. In a way, you'd think he would be, if not a representative. I am curious what the Kassar family are going to do. They are, after all, technically one of the keystones of the Hegemony. But I'd also be interested if any representatives of the Aranites family are here as well. So maybe those are the two surnames I'll listen out for in amongst all the pleasant conversations, and of course do my very best to use all the correct terms. May the icons protect you, so on and so forth.
You do. You are quite comfortable, after all, in these kinds of situations, although you've never been the center of attention like this, so it is a somewhat new experience. Perhaps an even more new experience is the one that you are faced with, Pig. How are you handling all this? Is there something that happens that you can tell us about?
First, there's a lot of excitement. But then, as impressions mount and attention comes to me as well, me being a slightly more odd one out here, being biosculpted, being a first come, and, well, plenty of other reasons, I guess. I feel like I am a bit controversial by just existing here. And I start to pull back a little bit from the questioning and the how I feel about being one of the few of my kind to grace these halls in this place. I start to at first say things like how honestly grateful I am that the Lady of Tears preserved our weak flesh as we traveled through this anomaly and time, space jumping, and the Traveler for taking us home. Of course, I will also say a few thanks to the practical things that we were actually brought home by part of the consortium. But I will also say that start to drop things a little bit, like, we were on a very important mission as it happens, and we saw some harrowing things along the way, and how one cycle later, it starts to become more and more apparent how we must all stick together here in our horizon. And with a little bit of being a little bit ominous, perhaps, I will say mention that things are moving out there, and we all have something that we're sharing, and I feel like my presence here symbolizes a little bit of that. There's an infinite of distance between, and I just take someone at random, me here and, well, this fine gentleman standing next to me right here. Just think of how different we've both grown up and traveled throughout it. Me, living throughout the rebellions of Uharu and the jungle and ending up here. Now is a time that we need to think about the things that we actually do share, and how we can stand together in the sudden threats of portals collapsing and who knows what else might come.
And you do that, and they listen attentively, and you are in the spotlights. And it's a different feeling than what you're used to, all these Zenithians seeing you as the hero. looking up to you,
Yeah.
not down.
It's very strange. As I'm saying everything, I'm starting to slowly believe my own words as well. Maybe, with the right platform, there's a change to be made in how we see each other. Very strange thought coming from me. Maybe it'll be gone again after a few drinks, but yeah, it's been a journey.
During all this, your courtesans are ensuring that your cups are never empty, and the bulletin's drones are covering the event from all angles. As the attention begins to fade at least a little bit, you spot Corel and Elena standing next to... Oh, that must be him. The Hegemony's aging monarch, Abaran Kassar. The Zenith's last captain is surrounded by an army of bodyguards and courtesans, as well as a large entourage of Zenithians from the premier families. He is an old man now, but his gaze is sharp and his movements confident and precise. The captain nods approvingly towards you. He turns to Corel and then whispers something to one of his courtesans, who quickly makes her way across the hall towards you. Her voice is as soft as silk. Honored guests, my master, the esteemed Abaran Kassar, humbly asks for the honor of your company. She gently touches your hands. Would you please follow me?
It would be an honor.
I nod and follow.
The courtesan bows courteously and glides back through the crowd to her master as you arrive. And as you're following, you notice the camera drones closing in again as not to miss a single second of your meeting with the captain. The Janissaries step aside to let you through, and he smiles at you both. My friends, welcome to my home and to a night we shan't soon forget. You honor my name and blood with your presence. I've heard great things about your resourcefulness from my people. He nods slightly towards Corel, who's standing at perfect attention in his spotless dress uniform. How does it feel to stand before one of the most powerful people in the horizon?
In this manner, at a banquet, at a sort of ceremony, at first, no. Even from the first moment, all I can think of is that, yeah, sure, this doesn't mean anything. This doesn't mean anything. If we were sitting down in a private room talking about what has to be done now, planning strategies and the development of things, or if we were side by side fighting for something, that would mean something. Right now, this is all ceremony. I could as well be a cartoon character or just a little drawing on a paper that is showing up next to him. I mean nothing here right now, no matter what he says. But maybe if I say something, I look at Carlo, trying to read him as well.
Yes, Carlo, how do you feel about this?
Well, I descend into the bow that is expected. I greet him. Ikona Hafas, great captain. And, well, it is interesting, isn't it? Perhaps our family might not do so badly after all. Maybe getting this close to the great captain himself will be beneficial to all of us. It's certainly interesting. If I can get their attention, well, maybe we can truly steer the hegemony in a good direction. But at the same time, there is a falseness to all this, as, after all, we're not exactly going to get much talk done here. But you never know. And, well, at least Corel's doing good. He, after all, is the head of, well, our branch. I'm just here to serve and get what I want. And then who knows, maybe if we do survive this moment in history, whatever happens, I can finally get back to just having a nice, relaxing stroll the promenade, or maybe a little bit of a fun smuggling run on the side.
Indeed. Pig, I'm going to ask you to roll for manipulate as a Baron Kassar smiles at you. And if you don't have anything in a manipulate, just roll straight for empathy.
I get a success.
The smile on the captain. Smiling hospitality. You recognize this because you've seen it so many times on the face of a Zenithian. This subtle layer of disdain towards you in particular underneath that smile. You're a first comer, and he damn well knows that. Zenithian bastards are all the same, huh?
Yeah. As I almost open my mouth to speak and say something that I feel would be of significance, well, I close it, but then I do blurt out, "The icons seem to have brought me here. Now, I hope that we can thread the strands of their wills, and maybe there's a future for all of us in this horizon."
And he smiles at you. And he speaks. "Now, I would be honored," he looks at the both of you, "if you would continue working with us in the Zenithian Hegemony as we continue our tireless work of bringing the light of civilization back to this horizon." And Corel nods to you as like, "Yeah, you'd better accept his offer."
I inwardly laugh a little at the idea that my brother thinks I would somehow at this moment choose to say, "No thanks, I'm off on a space journey somewhere hot." No, I bow again, and then I do look up. After all, I am a Zenithian. I do not need to completely curtail to the captain, even though he is higher rank. I am myself not without merit. Of course, my captain. At the end of the day, I am a blade of my family. We have been greatly wronged, and we thank you immensely for the support you have given this time. We will get vengeance for what has been done to us, and vengeance on what has been done to all of us. The horizon is in a precarious situation, and we must, well, solidify our position and defend what is ours, mustn't we?
He looks very pleased as you say that, and he doesn't look to you, Pig, to ask if you are also going to join this. He just assumes that the Zenithian speaks for the both of you, because of course he would do that. And he holds up a cup of the finest wine, and cups with the finest wines are brought to you as well, for a toast. As the wine is being brought, is there anything on your mind, Pig, that you wanted to say? Or
I look at the wine. I suddenly feel a bit tired and overwhelmed from all this. I might just hide behind the cup for a while. And, yeah. Carlo gets to do his thing. And then I perk up a little bit. Hey, I still get to be on the broadcast with Tan and Maciej being the hosts. Oh yeah. I'm gonna watch this over and over when I get back.
Yes, you certainly will. And the captain holds up his cup and proposes a toast. Then, to a brighter horizon for us all. And there's toasting, he shakes your hands, posing together with you for photos. The bulletin is taking all of this in, of course. It's all up on the screens all around you. And then the courtesans are with you again. And now you seem to have been given a security detail of your own janissaries to ensure that you have space to enjoy the banquet in peace. It's paradise, really, and you're continuously showered with praise and adulation. How are you enjoying all this attention now that you have met the captain and that, well, what started on a high note just keeps on climbing with some, perhaps, not as good things for you, Pig?
It certainly is an experience, and I confess I'd be hard-pressed not to enjoy any of it. But there's still the occasional look I want to see. I'm sure the faces arrayed before me here are all experts in what they do, but someone might just let it slip. I'm curious, do I ever even once see one look that maybe isn't fully happy to see us? Is there anyone looking concerned or whispering to their friend in a hushed tone as we pass by? I probably won't see it, but you never know.
Oh, you will. You will, and you do. And it doesn't take long, actually, until one of the first of such encounters happens. There's a large man of Mogul descent who's moving through the crowds with an assistant in tow, although the armor underneath the man's loose clothing hints at him probably also serving as a bodyguard. There's loud bursts of laughter and subtle conspiratorial looks and handshakes that follow him as he makes his tour of the assembled dignitaries. Here come the Draconites. And he comes up to you. The heroes from Uharu. Thank you so much for helping our disillusioned Zenithian siblings to justify their agenda. It will be interesting to follow your journey and see where it leads. May I give you one piece of advice?
Certainly. I'm always up for some good advice.
Don't allow yourselves to be tricked by the affluence of Sky City or by the dignitaries' flattery. There are more important things out there that you should be focusing on.
Remind me, what do I know of the Draconites? They are quite a secretive lot. Where do they actually stand?
No one really knows. They are very much mysterious. They count as a first-come faction, so they're not with you. They abandoned the Zenith and took a lot of important technology with them, and, well, the word is that they have access to technology that no one else has access to. And there's very few Draconites that are actually known. The only one on Coriolis is this man. You believe this must be Mandragore Ho, the representative of the faction in the Council of Factions.
Interesting. I wonder what his agenda is. I will say, I confess, though, your lot are awfully secretive. Are they at all concerned for their own holdings? After all, I have a funny feeling between you and I lower my voice, that there might be an enemy coming that doesn't really like anybody other than itself.
Then I see that you know exactly what we're facing. It will be very interesting to see how you tackle that, and how we will take this on, together or apart. Now, have a pleasant evening, and enjoy this moment that has been gifted to you. You have earned it. He chuckles and begins moving away.
Interesting. Very interesting, I think to myself. Did I get a read on them at all? Was that a genuine voice of concern? Or was there something going on there? Were they assessing a rival or a ally?
Yes. It's difficult to tell. You, of course, also saw this pig. First Draconite you've ever seen?
Fascinating. They're like stories, otherwise. You hear of them. What I wouldn't do to get my hands on their tech. If we could work with them. What a stupid thought, I think to myself when I have a sip of wine.
And the evening continues. You end up overhearing conversations in the background as you're moving through the party. The governor of Coriolis, Karamal Dargosian, is quite intoxicated and is venting his frustration to two Zenithian politicians about the increased number of adjudicators on his station, as well as the outrageous accusations of corruption against the Coriolis guard. Are the Zenithians trying to undermine his rule of the station? Of course not, Governor, but we're aware that there have been isolated cases of corruption, such as when this order strike team was allowed to infiltrate the cellar. The other Zenithian speaks up. Yes, but surely the governor cannot be faulted for that. Corruption is unfortunately a fact across all the horizon. And Kermal looks up as you approach, and he looks pleasantly surprised. Ah, if it isn't the heroes of the horizon. Say, what advice would you give to the overworked and very tired governor of Coriolis?
What can I say, other than to keep an eye on things as you already do? I'm sure you won't have any more insurgents anytime soon. Hopefully. I don't know. That cellar, hello my voice, was an interesting place. Colourful people down there.
And he looks to you as well, Pig. What's your advice to the governor?
As he's looking at me, asking me this or us this in this tired, but in a way kind of genuine manner, I just hold up my glass to the side and I say, listen, you learn from your lessons. Don't let anyone here decide what to do for you. You've been anointed. Well, you've been given a position. Now, you gotta make sure you make something of it. Don't let everyone here have their say or do, but at least, Zenithians, know what I'm saying? They just want to get more power. Let everyone speak, okay? Yeah, good guy. And get some new shoes. That collar's awful on you.
I shall certainly take that under consideration. Well, my toast to you. Then he holds up his cup and kind of spills a little bit of the drink.
So at this point, I look around and I'm curious, because there's an awful lot of different representatives here. Is anyone here actually representing the Order of the Pariah? I'd be very surprised, but you never know.
Funny you should say that. Of course they're here. They're part of the Council of Factions. Sister Almas is in a conversation that you can overhear, and she is not happy. I just can't believe that they would laud these survivors from Uharu as heroes. If they had anything to do with the loss of Solosian lives in the system, they are murderers and war criminals, nothing else. Clearly this is all the work of the Hegemony and the Consortium. I don't know how they did it, but I would not be surprised if dark forces were involved. And while all this happens, we find ourselves dealing with the wave of xenophobic hate crimes that have plagued the station since the emissary disappeared. But do they care about us? No, not at all. In spite of everything we have sacrificed for all of them. It's an outrage. And she sees you and glares at you.
I smile and step over. Oh, now I'm sure it's not all that bad.
Her guards, large men in animate armor, make it clear that you are not welcome anywhere near her. Animate armor is something that the holiest of the Order's warriors go into battle with. These animate suits of armor are technological wonders crafted by the faction's mythical animaturgs. It's a prime example of their technological proficiency, which is much more advanced than many of the other factions. You know that this armor, it alters itself to withstand incoming attacks, becoming stronger as it is hit. Those in armed conflict with the Order, because of this reason, always try to counteract this by using experimental weaponry that the armor is not prepared for. The heretics on Zalos B and Sahidan have so far been the most successful at this. So those guards in their armor, they're blocking your path to Sister Almas, who glares at you.
I will certainly stop before the extremely heavily armed guards, but that's fine. I look around, I notice one of those cameras zooming by, and I just say, I don't see the need for this, sister. We are all friends here, aren't we? After all, isn't this a perfect time to let everyone know the truth? You could, for example, publicly out-decry the, what were they? Were they extremists or heretics who acted in your name on Coriolis a year ago?
And she makes a point to completely ignore you and goes back to speaking to her group. You see her looking back once in a while to see if you have disappeared, and then she goes back to talking to her group. She does not want to interact with you.
Well, in that case, I'll just look at the cameras and say, and what about the insurgents on Kua and those who were responsible for the assassination of my family? No? Nothing? Oh, well, is it that unusual? And I'll look at the cameras directly.
Yes, and they are capturing all of this. And Pig, you see a large mixed party representing the Free League that are also at the banquet. Council member Jezebel Niales, a middle-aged woman, sits in the center, surrounded by several of the faction's sharpest negotiators and a couple of former stevedore Akbars and merchants turned factionary administrators. These guests are dressed in various styles of clothing, and their guards for the evenings are rent-a-guns from some mercenary group or other. They appear to be having a good time, but you can pick up whispers about discontentment and injustice. They're discussing the increased taxation of space station ports, how business is slow, and more Zenithians are choosing to do underhand dealings with the Syndicate rather than the Free League. Labor conditions have deteriorated and harassment from local law enforcement is on the rise. To add to this, several new law proposals threaten the League's exclusive rights to organize in the outer systems and in consortium colonies. There's talk of striking to restore the balance of power. Does any of this interest you?
A little bit. My ties are, or have been at least, well, we've been running smuggling operations for cycles. My interest is more with, what will benefit the Syndicate at this point rather than the Free League. To me, I say, yeah, let them deal with the bureaucracy of taxes and regulations and things getting in the way of them. If they want my help, like put my face on something, they know where I am.
That they do. And the night has moved on, and you're starting to get quite close now to what will be the crescendo of the night, the actual Cyclade celebration. Corel comes up to you and nods. He's clearly had quite a few drinks himself, and he seems to be really enjoying himself. I think you're supposed to be making an appearance on the bulletin next. It's the big ceremony thing. Don't worry, just be yourselves. I think they wanted you over there.
Certainly, and I lean in and whisper, "Brother, don't enjoy yourself too much. You should keep yourself slightly alert."
But it's such a great night. Did you see with the captain and everything? And he has this boyish excitement that you remember from growing up with him that he always hides otherwise when he is the big military man.
He always was more excitable. Aram was always a little more, well, maybe he was a little more like father. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Still seems strange to think that he's just gone. Don't even remember the last time we properly spoke. But Carol is Carol, and at least I know how he's feeling. He wears his feelings on his sleeve. Yes, I saw how you were with the captain. This is a good night for our family. Even if a few people aren't happy to see us. Did you see the Order of the Pariah? I hope the medium bulletins make a meal out of that.
Tanya Corel, we'll make sure to appear our best. I've had a few drinks now as well, and then I just stopped there. Hey. And I stumble over the name, and I was like, Izam, yeah, right. It just occurred to me, Carlo, is almost like an anagram. Is that where he came from? Is that a little brotherly love that you showed there by adopting that name?
Well, not really, Pig. Although now you mention it, I suppose I do see similarity. No, I wouldn't have done that because I would have been worried about people using that information to maybe, piece together who I was. And then getting shot for it,
Cariel laughs a little bit too much.
And I do laugh as well, being like, yes, brother, it's funny, because I really, at one point, really did like having, my identity not so public.
Well, you'd better go. You see how the grand stage is starting to be illuminated by the pulsating glow of sugar globes. Carlo, you remember that you broke one of those globes when you were a kid. It contained a sticky and sweet-smelling white liquid. Your father was very cross with you.
Oh, he certainly was. Although it's funny, I find myself remembering that, and then also suddenly just remembering the strange globes that were, well, deep down under the surface on that planet. There was a similarity, wasn't there? Interesting. And as we're heading over, I do just lean to Pig. So, have you, having fun? Haven't caused any diplomatic incidents yet?
I wish I could, in a place like this. If I had a silver tongue like Farouk, maybe I could have done something, anything that actually mattered. Now, it's just it's a silly party. We're gonna get out of here being the exact same medium losers that we were before.
Speak for yourself. Not to mention, and I lower my voice, that's not entirely true, friend. Think about it. The Draconite representative himself here, and, of course, the Order of the Pariah here. Remember, your face has just gone out to every single bulletin board and visual orb in Coriolis and beyond. It's going to be fun trying to be subtle from this point.
I guess. And they'll know about, this is being our ship. Oh, icons. What'll they dig up about us after this? They'll know freaking everything, won't they?
Well, I hope they don't learn about me. I have things in place that will take care of that, but everything else, yes.
Oh, well. It's nothing that... There's nothing they can do. It's not like I'm applying to be a next emissary. Speaking of which, why aren't the emissaries here? What do you actually gotta do to get an audience with one of the emissaries? I want to talk to them about a thing or two.
I bet you do, Pig. I bet you do.
A hollow wall projects a montage of night skies from all the corners of the horizon, and you hear music increasing in volume, and all the guests turn their attention toward the stage as you're moving towards it as well. A red Dabaran rug is unrolled ceremoniously, and Mahadia Alana of the Bulletin takes to the stage, dressed in a flamboyant, exquisitely tailored gown. A cloud of camera drones captures the scene for the expectant crowds watching from Alcamar's, the finest restaurant on Coriolis, or the Core Plaza. Smiling, Mahadia addresses the room. People of the horizon, Zenithians in first come. Dear friends, my name is Mahadia Alana. All of us share a common fate and a great future. The clocks of the Cyclade strike the hour. A new cycle begins. Another is laid to rest. Let us embrace what lies ahead. Let us celebrate hope and progress. A united council will lead us into the light. And as the ensuing toasts and cheers quiet down, Mahadia gestures to her producer below the stage. The swarm of makeup and wardrobe assistants around you apply the finishing touches and step away, exhaling in relief as you head towards the stage, perfection personified. You step onto the red carpet and pause briefly in front of the hollow wall as Mahadia's voice booms across the room. Please join me in welcoming to the stage the survivors from Uharu. Applause, more toasts. A couple of parties in the crowd appear less impressed, however. After a dangerous mission deep beyond the Order's unsanctioned blockade, our heroes made it home against all odds. I find their valor to be a perfect example of that sacred principle which we as Zenithians all strive toward, unity. They chose to defy the oppressor's unjust actions, to tear away the gag some people would place over the mouth of progress. And at this, some scattered outbursts from the crowd interrupt her. There's an emotional tirade of curses that's quickly shushed. Somewhere, someone breaks a glass against the floor. Various groups of bodyguards shift uneasily. She continues. The disaster that followed, the Icon's righteous striking down of the agents of chaos, clearly shows the way forward. Our heroes fought for Zenithian ideals and were delivered from evil because of it. Stalwart in the face of darkness. Children of the portals, an example for the future and proof that the mercy of the Icons comes only to those who follow the right leaders. Strength and grace come only from Zenith's light. And she is interrupted again. A decanter comes soaring through the air and shatters against the holoscreen, rupturing a serene Miran starscape. Angry shouts accompany the act, first from the Zelosian groups, then the Free League, and into many of the other first-come contingents. Lies! Slander! Servants of the darkness! Murderers! War criminals! The slightly delayed broadcast is cut short before the commotion reaches the viewing masses on Coriolis. Their screens are instead switched to an animated countdown, to a backtrack of soft music. None the wiser as to the real reason for the sudden cut, the people gathered in the core plaza count down in unison with the clock on the screen towards the Cyclade. House guards all around Sky City close ranks around their masters, though, as someone pulls you off the stage. You're suddenly left alone in the middle of an angry crowd. Someone makes a grab for your collar, Pig, and a glass shatters against a pillar just behind you, Carlo. The banquet is turning into a riot, and the slighted mob around you need a target, and they have found you. They are closing in around you. What do you do?
There's no janissaries, not anything. It's just me and... well, this sword that I could absolutely not do anything with unless I actually did. But I will raise it up in the air if I can get a hand free, and I say, I am a proud first come, and I, for one, will not stand against unity. Unity! Unity! Unity against our common enemies!
And what do you do, Carlo?
Well, Pig seems to have the situation under control, so I'll be happy to quickly duck behind someone grabbing me, kind of switch places with them, and then just try and slink back in the crowd. Shouldn't be too difficult, I am rather dexterous.
Yes, well, you try that, but there are people chasing you. But fortunately, because of Pig's quick thinking, there's suddenly loud voices. Karel, Sana, Aristides, and a group of Zenoni guards that appear. Let's go. It isn't safe anymore.
About time. Thank you. Pig!
Unity! And then I go.
And as you are moving out of this area, Sister Alma spots you during your escape, her eyes dark with sorrow and resentment. How did you destroy our ships in Uharu? You are the servants of darkness, enemies of the martyr.
They will be found again, and we will fight together against our common enemy.
What do you say, Carlo? Do you say something, now that she's finally interacting with you?
I look at her in the eyes and say, I am sure all Dark Masters will soon be revealed. Perhaps look to your own flock first, sister.
Karel grabs you. Come now, quickly before this escalates any further. And he kind of pulls you along.
I have to admit, our host maybe could have been slightly more diplomatic in their giant speech that enraged the crowd, but let's go.
It was a bit much, huh? Karel says. And the house guards continue to open a way towards a waiting gravcraft on one of the terraces outside. And you're about to board this, and you look back to this party that is completely turned into a riot, and you hear cheering from outside, coming from down below in the conglomerate. What do you do?
Ah, well, good for them. I do look back to the ensuing chaos. Wouldn't have been the first things I'd have said, but at the same time I do find myself wondering how much of that was deliberate. Sister Almas, the head of the Order of the Pariah, or at least the one they showed here. I wonder, is she truly just a moron, or a willing agent? I will look forward to revealing the truth to everyone. The Order of the Pariah will pay.
And what of you, Pig, before you get into the ship?
Apparently I got a drink in one of my hands still, so I empty it unceremoniously and smash the glass on the floor. And then I look to Carlo just as he goes in and I say, Happy New Cyclade, Zenoni. And then I jump into the transport myself.
Happy New Cyclade, Pig.
And as you take off with Karel and Sana, fireworks go off in the sky not too far off. It would all be very beautiful, if not for what you just went through. Coriolis Cycle 63 has just begun, as has the countdown to the last Cyclade.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying where we play the campaign Mercy of the Icons for Coriolis, which is published by Free League. In this third part, we're taking on The Last Cyclade. The music was created by AlphaZone and Sabled Sun and was used with permission from their label Cryochamber. Please check out cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for more of their lovely dark ambient. We also used the official Coriolis soundtrack by Stars on the Black Sea. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon, Martin Heuschober, Simon Cooper, David, Julia, Camilla, Bob Lange, Cameron, Graham Barey, Doug Thomson, Lily, Mike Parker, and Maciej for their generous support. And we would of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Ultimately Lost, Call of Cthulhu, and Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay there. And you can also get early and raw access to all of our recordings and hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as play some Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you again for listening, and remember that Uharu has traversed the darkness to guide us.